My wife won $12 million jackpot, left me for her lawyer, and locked me out of our own damn house. There were 87 guests at the celebration. I wasn't one of them. She canceled our joint accounts, even sold my dad's watch. But I had something she didn't know about. Hidden files, every secret meeting, every lie recorded. I was done begging. I canceled the divorce payments. Then, a week later, someone broke into my motel room, wearing her perfume. My wife Rachel used to laugh like someone who'd never been burned. Loud, full, careless. I love that about her. We were married 8 years, never rich, barely stable. But we had each other in a small 2-bedroom house with a leaky faucet and a dying lemon tree in the backyard. I worked maintenance at a local school. She ran a small online shop selling handmade candles. Nothing fancy, just 2 people doing life together. And then, everything changed. A Friday afternoon in March, she comes home holding a folded piece of paper like it's made of gold. Shaking, crying. And when she finally speaks, her voice cracks. We won. Babe, we won the lottery. $12 million. $12 million. I thought she was joking at first. I even laughed. She didn't. She held it out like it might explode. I remember my heart skipping, then racing. We danced, drank cheap champagne, made plans we never thought we'd make. She said she wanted to pay off her mom's mortgage. I said I'd finally fix the lemon tree. We were high on possibility. For about 2 weeks, it was magic. New furniture, financial planners, a lawyer. She insisted we needed separate legal advice, just in case. Standard stuff, she said. I trusted her. Didn't even read the forms too closely. Figured love would cover any loophole. But slowly, she started changing. She was always on her phone, always texting someone. Her laugh changed, shorter, sharper, like she was keeping something in. She stopped calling me babe, stopped touching me at all. One night, I heard her in the guest room. Door closed. Whispering. I leaned close and heard her say, "He still doesn't know." My stomach dropped. I didn't sleep that night. Or the night after. I asked her what was going on. She smiled, kissed my cheek, said I was being paranoid. Maybe I was. Maybe money just changes people. That's what I told myself. But I couldn't shake it. So I did something I'd never done before. Something that made me feel dirty. I placed a hidden voice recorder under the bookshelf in the living room, just to confirm my gut was wrong. 2 days later, I came home from work and my key didn't fit the door. I jiggled the handle. Tried the spare. Nothing. I knocked. Nothing. Finally, I saw a white envelope taped to the door. My name. Inside, a letter from her lawyer. Do not attempt to enter the premises. Rachel has filed for divorce. Any contact must go through legal channels. I stood there on the porch with my lunch still in my hand. The same porch where we once carved pumpkins. Where she kissed me the night we moved in. She was gone. My house was gone. My bank account. Drained. All our joint savings had been moved. Her name was on everything. Mine was on nothing. She'd erased me. I slept in my truck that night. Couldn't go to my brother's. Too ashamed. I tried calling her. Blocked. Tried messaging her mom. No reply. Her friends? Radio silence. That's when I remembered the recorder. I still had it. I still had something. I drove back the next day, early morning, and watched the house from down the street. Lights were on. I saw a man inside. Tall, slick suit, glass of wine in hand. Her lawyer. She wasn't just divorcing me. She was sleeping with him. I pressed play on the recorder for the first time. Her voice filled the truck. He's too stupid to see it coming. Once the papers are filed, it's done. The prenup's solid. He gets nothing. He laughed. And the money? Already moving it. We set up those LLCs last week. Everything will be offshore before he even knows what hit him. My hands were shaking. My face was hot. But my mind, it was clear. This wasn't heartbreak. This was war. And I had the first bullet. I sat in my truck, engine off, breath shallow, listening to my wife plot my erasure like I was some inconvenience she could just delete. Her voice on that recorder didn't sound like the woman I married. It was colder, confident, like she'd already buried me in her rearview mirror. But she'd made one mistake. She talked too much. And I caught it all. I played the file again, slower this time, focusing on every name, every detail. She mentioned something called Red Birch Holdings and a guy named Jonas who handled quiet transitions. I didn't know what that meant yet, but I would. I drove to a motel on the edge of town. $70 a night. Smelled like mildew and regret. But they didn't ask questions and had decent Wi-Fi. I started digging. First into Red Birch Holdings. Turns out, it was a shell company. Registered in Delaware, no employees, no office. The address led to a UPS store. Classic laundering tactic. So she wasn't just trying to keep the money. She was hiding it. Probably from the IRS too. And now I had evidence. I made a copy of the recording on a flash drive and locked it in the glove box. Paranoid? Maybe. But paranoia was the only thing keeping me sane. Next, I needed help. I called Nate, my old college roommate. We hadn't talked in years, not since he moved to Boston to do IT security. He picked up after 3 rings. Dude, this is unexpected. You ever hack a lawyer? I asked flat. He laughed, then paused. You okay, man? I told him everything. Not the heartbreak parts. Just the facts. The money. The betrayal. The recordings. Jesus, he muttered. She pulled a full-blown grift on you. Can you help me get into her files? Depends. You got access to her email? I nodded. She was lazy with passwords. Unless she changed it. I knew her go-to. Our wedding date plus her cat's name. He walked me through a basic trace route. Within 20 minutes, I was in. Inbox. Sent folder. Even her cloud storage. And what I found chilled me. Emails to offshore banks in the Caymans. Wire transfer requests. Legal drafts back and forth with her lawyer, who, by the way, she'd been seeing for 6 months before the win. She hadn't changed because of the money. She was always planning to leave. The jackpot just gave her the ammo. I downloaded everything. Nate set up a secure folder for me to drop the evidence into. Off-site backup, he called it. In case something happened to me. And I was starting to think something might. Because that night, someone followed me. I left the motel to grab a burger from the drive-thru. When I pulled out, a black SUV merged behind me. Didn't think much of it at first. But it turned every time I did. No headlights. Closed but not tailgating. I took a hard left down a dark street. It followed. I ran a red. It followed. My stomach flipped. I sped up. So did they. I swerved into a gas station and jumped out like I was armed. The SUV slowed, then turned off down the alley behind the station. Gone. I called Nate again. They know, I said. Someone knows I've got the files. He was quiet. Then, you need to go to the feds. Now. I wanted to. God. I wanted to just hand it all over and let them sort it out. But I couldn't. Not yet. The files weren't enough. Rachel was smart. Her lawyer was smarter. If I went in half-cocked, they'd spin it like I was bitter, unstable, trying to sabotage a clean divorce. I needed something ironclad. And then I remembered the attic. Our old house had a crawl space above the master bedroom. Unfinished, dusty, and just big enough to hide a camera. Last year, I installed one, back when a raccoon kept getting into the vents. I never took it down. If they were still meeting there, it might still be recording. I drove back to the neighborhood just past 2 a.m., parked 2 blocks down, walked in through the woods, hopped the backyard fence like a burglar. My house, but not my home anymore. The side garage door had a code. I knew it. Hadn't changed. I slipped in. Silent. Heart pounding. Upstairs, I crawled into the attic, fingers brushing insulation and old board games. The camera was still there. Still wired. Still blinking. And when I plugged it into my laptop, there she was. Rachel. In a robe. Laughing with her lawyer. Toasting with champagne. And then, a sentence that made my blood freeze. He's not going to the police. He's too scared. Worst case, we say he tried to hit me. Emotional abuse. No one will believe him. And he replied, "You sure you don't want him out of the picture for good?" She smiled. Cold as ice. We'll see. That's when I knew. This wasn't just betrayal. It was a setup. And if I didn't act fast, I wouldn't just lose everything. I might lose my life. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I wasn't tired, but because sleep meant letting my guard down. And now, that could mean death. They weren't just trying to ruin me legally. They were toying with something darker. Something permanent. I rewatched the attic footage 10 times. Rachel's smirk. The champagne. That single, haunting line, "We'll see." My wife, the woman who once kissed my forehead during fevers, now debating whether I should disappear. My blood boiled. But panic was louder than rage. I left the house before dawn. Careful. Quiet. Before the neighbors could see. I didn't want her knowing I'd been inside. Not yet. I texted Nate. We need to talk. Now. 20 minutes later, we were on a private encrypted video call. He looked like hell. Unshaved, eyes red from staring at code all night. You weren't paranoid, he said. They've pinged your old IP twice. Trying to find your new location. They're tracking me? They're trying to. I sent him the attic footage. His jaw clenched tight. You need to go dark, man, he said. Ditch your phone. Go burner. Pay in cash. Don't stay in one place too long. I'm not running. No, you're surviving. Big difference. I bought a prepaid flip phone, dumped my smartphone in a trash compactor, rented a beat-up Honda Civic under a fake name using an old contact Nate had from his gray hat days. It wasn't pretty, but it moved. And I had one destination in mind, the bank. Not just any branch. The one where Rachel had her safety deposit box. I remembered her mentioning it once, months ago, right after the win, before she started acting strange. She said she was keeping some of the cash tucked away just in case. I walked in, baseball cap low, fake glasses, a hoodie. The clerk barely looked up. I told her I was here on behalf of my wife. Family emergency. She'd authorized me on the box months ago. It was true. I had helped her sign up, and she was too lazy to remove me. They buzzed me in. My hands shook as I turned the key. Inside, a thick envelope, a flash drive, and a black notebook. The envelope held $20,000 in neatly banded hundreds. The notebook was worse. Inside were notes. Handwritten. Names. Dates. Wire transfer logs. A breakdown of how she'd moved the money in phases through different LLCs, converting it to crypto through mixers. It was a playbook. And at the very back, if anything happens to me, Jonas will know what to do. I recognized that name. Jonas. The man mentioned in the recording. The guy who handled quiet transitions. Was this her backup plan? Or was she being blackmailed too? The flash drive held scanned IDs. Mine, hers, and a few names I didn't recognize, along with encrypted spreadsheets and banking screenshots. Nate would need hours to go through it all. But it was proof. Solid, legal, undeniable. I had a choice. Run with this now and go to the authorities. Or wait. Dig deeper. Expose everything. I chose the latter. Because if Jonas was a fixer and he was still out there, I needed to find him before he found me. I started asking around. Shady bars. Poker rooms. Industrial districts with no signage. Mentioned his name like bait. And one night, it worked. A guy in a black leather jacket, toothpick between his teeth, said, "You don't want to meet Jonas." Why not? People who meet him usually don't have problems anymore. 'Cause they don't exist anymore. I offered him $500 to give me a lead. He slid me an address scrawled on a napkin. A warehouse. Abandoned. East Side. Sunday nights. No questions. No police. Classic. I drove there next Sunday. Parked across the street. Watched. Cars pulled in. Blacked out windows. No plates. Men in tailored suits and construction boots. That odd mix of business and brutality. And then he arrived. Jonas. Bald. Lean. The kind of guy who could kill you with a look or a pencil. Walked like he owned the dirt beneath his feet. I recorded everything from the shadows. Plate numbers. Timestamps. Faces. But I made a mistake. I got too close trying to zoom in. A light clicked on above me. A camera. Shit. I ran. Fast. Heart hammering. By the time I got back to the car, I could feel it. Eyes on me. I peeled off the lot, tires screeching. I didn't go back to the motel. I didn't even go back to Nate's digital drop. Instead, I slept in the car, in a church parking lot, clutching that flash drive like a lifeline. They knew now, and they were coming. But now, I had more than just recordings. I had receipts. And next, I'd make them pay. Every single one of them. I didn't eat for almost 2 days after that warehouse run. Not because I couldn't, because I didn't trust anything. Not the food, not the phone, not even the people around me. Paranoia wasn't just crawling under my skin, it was living there. Jonas had seen me, or at least, someone in that circle had. And they were fast. By Monday morning, 2 things happened. First, Nate messaged me through our backup channel. Check the news. Rachel's law firm just got raided by the feds. My stomach dropped. Second, there was a knock at the motel door. Not a friendly knock. It was slow, deliberate, like someone counting heartbeats. I didn't answer. I slipped out the bathroom window barefoot, heart punching my ribs, flash drive stuffed in my waistband. I knew the motel had cameras. They'd catch whoever it was. I left the area on foot, made my way to a nearby diner, and hacked into their free Wi-Fi using a burner laptop Nate gave me. The news was already out. Millionaire lottery winner under investigation for tax fraud and offshore money movement. Her picture was everywhere, my wife, trying to look composed under flashing lights, hand in hand with that snake of a lawyer. The irony? Her face on every screen in the country, after she tried to erase mine from her life. But here's what chilled me. They weren't arrested. They were cooperating. Meaning, they flipped first. Meaning, someone else was being thrown under the bus. I was being set up. Nate confirmed it that night. They're claiming you masterminded the fraud, that the money was your idea, and they're victims of your manipulation. My voice cracked. They're painting me as the villain? Yep. Said you were bitter, jealous, unstable. And get this, they filed a restraining order. You're officially banned from contacting Rachel or coming near her new residence. They bought a new house? Mansion. Gated. Under Jonas's shell company. They were using me as their fall guy, erasing me while they basked in stolen millions. No, not this time. So I set the trap. I leaked a fake file, an edited spreadsheet showing transactions that never existed, but implicating a fake third party I named GL Moncrief, a made-up alias Nate, and I designed as bait. I made it look like this third party had skimmed money from Jonas and Rachel, deep enough to raise suspicion, subtle enough to look like carelessness. Then we let it accidentally get found. We left breadcrumbs in a forum Jonas's people monitored, encrypted metadata, a private code signature they'd recognize. 2 days later, Nate texted me just one word: bite. Jonas's crew was on the move. And not toward me, toward Moncrief. They were scrambling, trying to figure out who double-crossed them. Meanwhile, I finally got in touch with a guy named McKinsey, retired FBI, old friend of my dad's, owed my family a favor. He agreed to meet under one condition: no cops, no names, no phones. We met in the back of a bookstore, a place that smelled like mold and secrets. I laid it all out: recordings, flash drive, bank logs, warehouse photos, Rachel's notebook, even the napkin with Jonas's first location. McKinsey whistled. Son, this is a case. This ain't just divorce drama. This is organized financial crime, collusion, possibly conspiracy to commit harm. Hell, this might cross into racketeering. What do I do? You sit tight. I'll bring it to the right people. But listen to me, don't play hero. Guys like Jonas, they don't give warnings twice. But it was already too late for warnings. Because when I got back to my car, the windshield was shattered. Inside, duct taped to the steering wheel, was a single playing card. The Queen of Hearts. My wife's favorite from our old poker nights. On the back, written in thick red marker: your move. I didn't drive that car again. Left it right there in the alley. I was being hunted, but I wasn't unarmed anymore. Nate traced the source of the card drop. It was a hired courier. Anonymous pickup. No camera footage, no traceable prints. Professional. But there was one thing they didn't expect: that I'd start fighting dirty. I started calling in my old favors. A guy named Vic I once helped out of a messy court situation. A girl named Lena who owed me from way back. Cybersecurity genius with a vendetta against corporate pigs. We built a small team. Quiet. Smart. Dangerous in their own way. And we launched phase 2 of our plan. We weren't just going to clear my name. We were going to dismantle their whole empire. One shell company, one lie, one betrayal at a time. And we'd start with Jonas's offshore vault in the Caymans. The Cayman Islands weren't on my bucket list. But when your ex-wife hides her dirty millions offshore, tropical becomes tactical. Nate, Vic, Lena, and I moved like ghosts. No names. Cash only. Prepaid phones dumped every 48 hours. The mission: locate Jonas's vault account, identify the structure behind it, and leak just enough to destabilize their entire game. We weren't going to steal anything. We were going to collapse everything. Jonas's trail wasn't obvious. He used layered shell corporations, with names like Larkpine Holdings and Verdant Sunrise Inc., but buried deep in one of the fake Moncrief files Nate seeded was metadata pointing to a lawyer named Danton Graves. Graves operated out of Georgetown. Quiet. Rich. Never used email. His clients? Cartels, corrupt CEOs, and Rachel. We found him playing golf like nothing was burning. Vic slipped into his office during a rain delay, planted a flash worm into his offline server, something Nate cooked up that could drain encrypted files the moment the drive went live. We got lucky. The files unlocked a treasure trove, a detailed breakdown of Jonas's shell network, blackmail insurance folders, photos, audio clips, even scanned passports tied to Rachel's second identity. She had a second name, Claudia Summers. issued in Panama, multiple entry visas. This wasn't just a cash grab anymore. This was pre-planned disappearance. She had no intention of ever staying married. This was always the exit strategy. The rage that hit me didn't explode, it simmered. Slow, hot, humiliating. I'd slept next to someone who wore a mask every night. And I loved her, with every dumb inch of my soul. We gave the Graves files to Mackenzie. He nearly choked when he saw the extent. This is national level now, he whispered. Do not leave the island. Feds are going to want to talk to you. I can't wait for the feds, I told him. I want to finish what I started. Then came the night the warning turned into war. Lena noticed someone following her. Not slick, sloppy. A bruiser in a too-tight floral shirt. Fake tan, radio in his ear. Hired muscle, probably ex-mercenary. We split up. Nate and I ducked into a casino, trying to lose them in the crowd. We pretended to gamble, bought time, fed cameras bad angles. That's when I saw her. Rachel. In the VIP bar above the poker tables, drink in hand, wearing sunglasses indoors. She was alone, no Jonas. I didn't think. I moved. I got up to that level in under 30 seconds, security trailing me, but by the time I reached the bar, she was gone. What she left behind. Her drink, half finished, and a note under the coaster. Stop. You don't know who they really are. No signature. No explanation. Nate caught up to me, breathless. We're compromised. She was just here. Yeah, and she's not warning you out of love. She's warning you because you're poking a nest full of fangs. Later that night, our hotel room got tossed. Nothing stolen. Just ransacked. Intimidation. Classic scare tactic. But it didn't scare me. It confirmed me. I stayed awake all night, staring at the ceiling fan spinning slow like a countdown clock. When dawn came, Mackenzie called. They're pulling Jonas in for questioning. Voluntary. It's heating up. I laughed. Not out of joy, out of disbelief. Voluntary. Rich people always get that word. We regrouped. Plan C. We uploaded part of the Graves file to a whistleblower site anonymously, just enough to draw press attention without exposing ourselves. Headlines exploded within 48 hours. Cayman banks linked to U.S. lottery fraud. Who is Claudia Summers? Millions missing, lawyers silent. Jonas's empire started to crack. The offshore accounts froze. Government subpoenas hit Danton Graves like a truck. But the most surprising thing? Rachel messaged me. A burner number. Encrypted app, one sentence. Meet me tomorrow. Come alone. I'll tell you everything. I stared at the screen, heart thudding. After all this, lies, betrayal, court orders, surveillance, she wanted to talk? Nate said no. Vic said hell no. Lena threatened to smash my burner. But I had to know. Because as much as I wanted to destroy her, part of me still needed to understand why she did it. And that need? That's what would get me closer to the final truth. Or kill me. She chose an old, empty marina at sunrise. No cameras. No foot traffic. Just rusting boats, creaking docks, and the sound of waves slapping tired wood. Classic dead drop energy. I got there first. No Nate. No backup. Just me and the silence. Then I saw her. Rachel, or Claudia, walking toward me in jeans and a windbreaker, hair tied back, no makeup, no mask. Just eyes that looked older than I remembered. And tired. Like secrets had eaten her alive. You came, she said, her voice flat. You asked. A pause stretched between us. Then she dropped it. No games, no tears. Just the truth. Jonas used me, she said. I thought I was smart. I thought I could play him, funnel the money, disappear when the time was right. But he's deeper in this than you know. I folded my arms. You still stole everything. You still lied to me. Her face cracked for a second. Maybe real guilt, maybe performance. I didn't plan to fall for you again. I know that sounds. Don't. I didn't need apologies. I needed answers. She handed me a USB drive. Encrypted. This is everything. Offshore accounts, asset movements, people he's paid off, names in Washington. They won't just come after me. They'll erase anyone who knows. I looked her dead in the eyes. Why now? Because I'm pregnant. Everything stopped. My breath. The wind. The world. It's yours, she added, almost whispering. Jonas doesn't know. But if you don't disappear, if you keep pushing this, you won't live to see them born. I staggered back like her words punched me in the ribs. I didn't know if it was true, if she was lying to save her skin, or if she meant it. But I knew one thing. They were watching. Out the corner of my eye, I caught movement. A glint. A scope. "Get down," I shouted, diving toward her. A shot rang out. Loud, sharp, silenced but deadly. It missed us by inches, punching a hole through the railing. We scrambled. I dragged her behind a half-sunk fishing boat, dialing Nate with shaking fingers. "Sniper. Marina. Now." "We're 5 minutes out." "We don't have 5 minutes." Another shot hit a metal cleat nearby, sparks flying. She clutched her stomach. Not hit, just scared. But I couldn't think about anything except keeping her alive long enough to learn the rest. "Who did he hire?" I demanded. "I don't know their names, just codename stuff. Bishop, Gray Eye, the painter. Ex-military, black contracts. How do we end this? You expose the files. You bring everything down at once. But you can't go through official channels. They're compromised." Nate's car screeched into view, doors flung open. Vic was in the back with a rifle. Lena jumped out, covering us. "Move," Vic barked. We dove into the car as another shot cracked the window. Glass exploded, but nobody was hit. Nate floored it. We peeled away, tires screaming. 10 blocks later, hearts still racing, I turned to Rachel. "You're not coming back with us." "What?" "You're going somewhere safe. We'll handle the drop." She didn't argue. Lena took her to a safe house in St. Croix run by a woman who owed us favors. Medical care. No phones. Fake name. Meanwhile, I cracked open the USB. It was worse than I thought. Not just money laundering. Not just tax fraud. But arms deals. Child trafficking links. Bribes to judges. Shell companies fronting entire intelligence ops. And every cent traced back to Jonas and his legal cartel. This was no longer personal. It was international. Mackenzie met us that night in a bunker. Looked pale. "This file, if you release this, your life's over. They'll chase you forever." "Then I guess I don't stop running." "You think it'll fix what she did?" "No," I said, sliding him the drive. "But it'll stop him from doing it again." We coordinated a global leak. Multiple outlets. Distributed drop. Time release mechanisms, so even if one source got shut down, 5 more would blow it wide open. I didn't sleep that night. I stared at the city from the roof. Remembered the woman who once kissed me goodnight like I was her whole world. And now? Now she was a fugitive. And maybe, carrying my child. Next morning, headlines detonated. Legal powerhouse exposed in global criminal network. Millions funneled through Cayman scheme. Who is the painter? Jonas went into hiding. His firm collapsed. Government hearings began. But as I packed my go bag, ready to disappear before they found me, a package arrived at our door. No return address. Inside, a baby onesie. And a note. "It's true. Protect them. Forgive me if you can." I sat down, holding the cloth like it could explain anything. And outside, a black SUV parked across the street. Engine running. They weren't done with me yet. They say when you go to war, you need a cause. Mine. Justice. For what she took. For what they built. For the man I used to be. But in that moment, staring out the window at the black SUV humming across the street, I realized this wasn't war anymore. It was survival. I texted Nate. "They found us." He replied instantly. "Extraction plan B, 5 minutes." I shoved the onesie into my backpack, locked the hard drives into a lead case, and burned every paper that could tie me to Rachel, to the files, to the past. I wasn't going to die for love or betrayal. 5 minutes later, a garbage truck stopped half a block away. Unmarked. Not city issued. Nate's idea, hide in plain sight. I bolted from the back alley, ducking under street cams, climbed into the underside compartment. It stank of oil and metal, but it was safe. The SUV followed, slowly, like a panther stalking prey. But they didn't bite. We rolled for 40 minutes. When the truck stopped, I was under an abandoned rail yard in the industrial quarter, one of Nate's backup safe houses. The team was waiting. Lena was hacking burned phones. Mackenzie was laying out international arrest records. Vic had a wall of mugshots and a duffel full of modified rifles. This wasn't a rescue mission anymore. This was our strike. "We have one shot," Nate said. "Their data centers go dark in 72 hours. If we don't mirror and release everything, they'll bury it forever." I glanced at the screens. Jonas was back in D.C., appearing on press conferences with a smug grin, spinning the leak as a fabricated smear campaign. He had senators defending him, networks protecting him, and yet, we still had one card left. Rachel's final file, a recorded conversation from 2 years ago, when Jonas accidentally admitted to rigging a judge's re-election. We cleaned the audio, sharpened it, but it needed a voice. My voice. So we live-streamed it. No face. Just the audio. Then my words. This isn't about money. This is about rot. A man stole millions and buried lives under NDAs and fear. He silenced my wife, turned her against me, and tried to kill me. But I didn't run. I recorded everything. And now you get to hear it. The internet exploded. We didn't sleep for 48 hours. Twitter, Reddit, Discord, Telegram. People took the file and spread it like wildfire. Within hours, Congress called for an emergency ethics hearing. But that SUV outside my last safe house? It didn't disappear. It multiplied. We were being hunted. Lena caught a breach in our firewall. They're triangulating, she warned. We moved. Vic set up diversions, EMP bursts, burner cars. Mackenzie bought us fake IDs. I became Ryan Blake, a mechanic with a record and no future. Our final base was in an off-grid cabin upstate, surrounded by woods and old land mines no one remembered. A fortress made of grief, grit, and code. And then, a knock on the door. 3 sharp taps. Code knock. But wrong order. We drew weapons. Flanked the door. It creaked open. And in stumbled Rachel. Bruised. Pale. Bleeding from the side. He found me, she gasped. He knows about the baby. Her lips trembled, her hands shaking. She collapsed in my arms. Lena stitched her up. Nate asked no questions. But I had one. Why come back? She looked at me with eyes that finally seemed human again. Because he's going to kill you, and I can't let him. I didn't know if I believed her. But I knew one thing. We were at the end. Tomorrow, we stormed Jonas's estate. Not to kill him, but to put him on a stage he couldn't escape. The world was watching now. And this time, I was done running.